Hi, I'm Cody with Mastering Light. In today's video, we're going to talk about painting over an older painting. And for today's purposes, I've got a painting that I did probably a couple of years ago. I started this and then I moved. It got stuffed into a box and I recently discovered it. And I went into my files and found the original reference photo for the painting, but I just didn't have the same enthusiasm for it. And I knew I wasn't going to be successful if I kept going with the original plan. I didn't like the composition anymore. It just wasn't a great idea to begin with. But being the thrifty artist that I am, I decided I needed to recycle that canvas. So I am doing another painting over an old painting. And so if you've ever done that and struggled with it, well, maybe this video will help. Let's begin. So here is the old painting, and you can see I've already started in the charcoal establishing the horizon line of the far mountain, and now I'm trying to place the center formation, which will be the focal point in our painting. I want that just a little above center and a little right of center. So I'm just looking at the outer edges of the canvas as I try to place these big shapes, and I'm really trying to just ignore the shapes of the old painting, the color differences. They're quite distracting, of course, if you allow your mind to focus on them. But if you're just measuring your lines against the outer edges of the canvas, it is possible to kind of visualize and draw this thing. It's one of the reasons I love charcoal. Again, this is just some vine charcoal. I can wipe it off if it's not in the right place or if I need to redraw a certain section. Here's a quick view of my palette. You can see I've already started mixing a gradation for the sky and also some orangish paint for the lit planes of our middle distance wall. And this is my normal palette. You can see how I lay out the colors. Warms across the top, cools down the left side. And coming back to the painting now, I'm starting to block in the sky. My goal here, I decided for this painting to work from background to foreground, and one of my primary goals is just to block in some big shapes relatively quickly, and the idea here is very straightforward. I just want to cover up the old painting as quickly as I can, but without working so fast that I'm sloppy or I start to sacrifice my drawing too much. I will refine the drawing throughout the painting, of course, but I am paying just a little attention to the general trajectory of that rear wall. And there you have it. Sky is blocked in. That's already helping me see what I'm working on. Now here I forgot to record it, but I had just dry brushed lightly some of the lit plane of this formation, and now I'm reestablishing the shadow side of it. And you can see the paint value that I'm using is just a little darker than what was already on the canvas. It's not a huge change. So in this area, it's really no problem to visualize the painting to come. But over on the left, you see there are some remnants of that yellowish formation that I had started painting. And that is still kind of throwing me off psychologically. But again, just like when we were doing the drawing, you just ignore that and keep measuring your strokes against the shapes you've already put down. You know, again, measure your marks against the marks you've already put down and ignore the marks that are there from the original painting. I know that's easier said than done, but I was able to get that middle wall sort of blocked in, and now I'm working on the middle distance trees, this kind of slanted slope, if you will, and it looks darker than it really is in the video, but this mixture of paint had it's mostly ultramarine blue, and then a little bit of tiny bit of red, tiny bit of yellow ochre, and a tiny bit of cerulean blue as well, just to keep it on the cooler side, because I knew that I would want some slightly darker darks under the bushes in the foreground. So I'm trying to be proactive and plan my value changes accordingly. And here's a little time lapse of me blocking in that wall, a little more of the tree wall, and adding a few details in the red rock wall where just a few of those trees have found a way somehow to grow on that nearly vertical surface. But at this point you can see that most of the previous painting is now covered. I still have the red undertone to deal with, and quite honestly that's still throwing me off in terms of being able to judge the colors that I want on that red rock wall. There's the original painting, the unfinished painting I had started, and then here is the finished painting. I call this Retreating Light. This is, of course, a scene of Sedona, Arizona. And I just invented the foreground, made up those bushes, added a few little color shifts for interest, some grass there as that sloping plane moves from left to right. And it's just a kind of a little secondary point of interest to counteract the main formation. And all things considered, I'm pretty happy with this painting, and it was challenging to paint over an old painting, but also rewarding. So I hope this encourages you to try the same. Well, I hope that was helpful and encourage you to recycle some canvases. It's really fun, and sometimes you get some interesting effects because of the texture of the paint from the previous painting shows through in the new painting. So I enjoyed doing that. I hope you enjoyed watching it. If you'd like to learn more about painting or more about my work, visit codydelong.com/masterclass for my Mastering Light workshop. Happy painting, and we'll see you in the next video.